Good evening, everybody, and I'd like to welcome everybody to this evening's online event to announce the grant recipients of the inaugural Fingal Chamber Community Fund 2021. This event will feature short briefings from these successful groups, who will each provide an overview of the projects and activities and how they will benefit their organisation and the wider community. But first, to address our attendees this evening, I would like to introduce the Minister of State at the Department of Rural and Community Development, with special responsibility for Community Development and Charities, Mr. Joe O'Brien, TD. Minister.
Thank you very much, Anthony, and thank you to the Chamber for the opportunity to say a few words this evening. I suppose I was eager to take the opportunity for a couple of reasons. Most obvious, I suppose, is my remit as a local TD, but also Minister for Community Development and Charities. And while I have previously worked in the community voluntary sector for 20 years or so, I'm always eager to find out what's happening on the ground. And that's something we've been missing a bit for the last 12 months. I'm always eager to find out what new projects are being developed. And particularly as Minister, I'm eager to show support as much as I can for the good work that is being done. I was also eager to attend, and am eager to attend, to acknowledge the business community in Fingal and what a very difficult year that you've had. In the context of the 12 months that business in Fingal is after putting down, I think it's especially remarkable and commendable that you have developed this community fund. Many of you will have heard and indeed have been involved in the Community Call initiative, which was set up last year with the arrival of COVID as a response to ensure that vulnerable people and over 70s who were required to cocoon, as the phrase was at the time, were reached and looked after. As Minister, I oversaw a piece of research that was recently published about the value of the Community Call, and one of the key learnings that we got from it is the extra value and the extra reach that was generated by the state and the community sector, and indeed business groups, cooperating more closely and bringing extra value from that solidarity. And this fund and the awards, I think, are also a great expression of this type of solidarity by the business community with the community sector. And again, I thank Fingal Chamber for putting it together. Before doing this tonight, I looked back on the Chamber's press release launching the fund last December, and it really struck me how on the button the set of issues were that was identified in that press release as possible areas for support. And there are areas that here in the department we've identified ourselves as well. So the area of sustainability, the area of mental health, promotion of Get Active initiatives that connect young people and old people. Digital inclusion was a big one, the purchase of educational equipment and the development of amenities. So you picked very good and relevant areas, I think, to support. I also thought it might be helpful tonight, because of the groups that might be listening, just to tell you a little bit about my remit as Minister for Community Development and Charities, because for some people they'll be vague terms, and it may be useful for you to get a bit of a steer. Now, I have some responsibilities in the Department of Social Protection as well in terms of oversight of the National Social Inclusion Roadmap, but also some of the employment support such as the C and the 2 schemes. But the majority of my work is based in the Department of Rural and Community Development, with all of my delegated responsibilities in that department being in the community development half of the house. So in terms of some of the main funding programs, one of the big ones is the Social Inclusion Community Activation Programme, or SICAP, and Empower in Fingal are the implementers of that programme locally. Another one of the large ones is the Community Services Programme. This funds about 400 groups nationally, again, many in Fingal. Wide variety here, but many small and large community halls are supported by this fund as well. And I know many of these groups have also been hit hard by the requirement to close their doors over the last year. And just to say, if there's any of you present, we are working on a support package for you at the moment as well. I am also very committed to building the volunteering infrastructure in Ireland, and by the end of this year, we should have a fully fledged one in every county. We in the department fund these volunteer centres, and I know the one in Fingal is particularly successful, and their work should be acknowledged as well. I did also launch a new fund recently that's open at the moment for new community development projects, and this is for new projects that have a focus on grassroots, bottom-up initiatives aimed at tackling social issues, and that's open for applications until the end of the month, March 31st. I also expect some of the groups here tonight are members of the Fingal Public Participation Network, the PPN, locally. I have oversight over PPNs nationally, and in case you weren't aware, we will be starting a research piece soon on how the different stakeholders in PPNs have been getting on since the establishment of the networks. Some of you might also be aware of the Stability Fund we launched last year to help the community and voluntary sector offset the lack of fundraising revenue. And with the announcement of the revised Resilience and Recovery Plan last month, we also got an agreement on funding for a new Stability Fund, and details of that will be coming out in the next couple of months. So just to flag that, which it might be of interest. Another very significant development that's going to be on the horizon is the upcoming launch of the new Climate Action Plan, and there's a very prominent role envisaged in that for the community and voluntary sector at a very local level as well, and there'll be some resourcing to back up that commitment as well. One final funding line that might be of interest is the COVID-19 Regeneration Programme for Social Enterprise, and applications are open for that until next Friday, the 26th, and that's specifically for social enterprises. You get more information on that on the DRCD website. So I'll stop at this stage in terms of listing off funding programs, but I felt it might be of use to you as well, just to go through them. And just finally, I suppose, to thank Fingal Chamber again for developing this fund. I'm not sure if it's something that's done in other chambers in Ireland, but if not, you're certainly leading by example, and it would be good to see other chambers following suit as well. I do also want to thank all of the organisations that applied to the fund. I know from speaking to Anthony today, there was a lot of very good applications made for some really good causes, but unfortunately, not everyone can be successful in these kind of funds. So I just wanted to acknowledge the work that everyone has done in terms of the organisations that applied for the fund, but in particular as well, I want to thank the people who've been volunteering their own time in various community groups. And I think your commitment is especially appreciated, and I'm glad to be able to acknowledge it tonight. And I'll stay on for the full meeting. I'm really looking forward to hearing more about the projects, the successful projects, and the work that you're doing on the ground. And thank you very much for the opportunity to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Minister, for those kind words, and thank you very much for joining us here this evening. Next to address our attendees, I would like to invite the Fingal Chamber President and Chair of the Community Committee, Sandra Malloy.
Thank you, Anthony, and good evening, everybody. Good evening, Minister O'Brien. We're delighted you could join us this evening. Very warm welcome to everyone else who joins us for this evening's Community Fund 2021 grant announcement event. The Fingal Chamber was established in 1994 by local business leaders, and today the Chamber is an independent organisation representing over 400 companies and a regional workforce of thousands. We are the only accredited chamber for the entire Fingal region, stretching from Balbriggan in the north to Santry in the south, and from Howth in the east to Castleknock in the west. As the region's largest and most influential business organisation, Fingal Chamber helps businesses of all sizes to grow and develop by providing members with opportunities to influence decision makers and policy, connect and grow business relationships, train their workforce, promote their business, trade internationally, and engage in business matters that can impact their business. Fingal Chamber is committed to promoting local economic development and enhancing the economic prosperity and quality of life across the region. The Fingal Chamber Council established the Fingal Chamber Community Committee in 2020. The committee comprises of representatives of the Chamber Council, patron supporters, and people working with community organisations. Member representatives are chosen for their independence, experience, and understanding of corporate social responsibility dimensions. The Fingal Chamber Community Committee seeks to create a Fingal which is sustainably developed for the benefit of the people who currently live and work here, and for future generations who will inherit the region. The Fingal Chamber Community Fund is financed by supporters and patrons and contributions from the Chamber itself, and aims to support community projects and activities that benefit the citizens of Fingal. The funding is targeted at supporting communities on developing initiatives in a variety of categories, such as environmental and sustainability, health and well-being, and social inclusion and community development. Submissions to the 2021 Community Fund came from voluntary community groups, established clubs, local charities, and resident associations from local communities, amongst other organisations. This year, our first operating the Community Fund, we received a staggering 127 applications, collectively requesting more than €365,000 from Balbriggan to Santry and Howth to Blanchardstown. Unfortunately, with the limited amount available, we've not been able to meet this large level of demand, but we are fortunate enough to be able to assist with some very worthy organisations and projects. Each application was reviewed and assessed by the Fingal Chamber Community Committee under the headings of governance, benefits of project or activity, and quality of the proposal. Geographic eligibility and category were also under which we also considered. Congratulations to the recipients grants groups as follows: Blakestown Mount View Youth Initiative, Crosscare Youth Service, Donabate Portrane Men's Shed, Fingal Volunteer Centre, NYP Neighbourhood Youth Project, Ongar Chasers Basketball Club, Phoenix FM, Portmarnock Scout and Guide Den, St Benedict's Housing Scheme, St John's Ambulance Swords Division, and Swords Celtic Football Club. We look forward to hearing more about your projects and following your work over the coming months. The Fingal Chamber Community Fund aims to provide an ongoing structured programme to award grants to approved projects in the Fingal region. Funding will be allocated annually, so we hope that many more groups might apply with a suitable project next year. The Community Fund is supported by patrons. If your business would like to get involved in supporting this work, please do contact the Chamber and we would be delighted to talk to you about the opportunities. I would like to acknowledge the Fingal Chamber Community Fund supporters and patrons, and the Fingal Chamber itself for their donations and backing, without which we would not be here tonight. Finally, I would like to thank the Fingal Chamber Community Committee members, Maura, Grace, Cassava, Terry, and of course David, who collectively put in so much hard work into successfully developing the fund and bringing it to where we are today. Well done, guys. I would also like to thank Fingal Chamber Chief Executive Anthony Cooney, the Chamber Board, including past President Bill, and Chamber Council for all their support and assistance. I really do hope you enjoy the rest of the evening, and I hand you back to Chamber Chief Executive Anthony Cooney. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Now we're going to hear from the successful groups themselves. So what I will do is I'll invite a representative from each of those to give us an overview of their projects and activities and how they will benefit their organization and the wider community. So the first one I'm calling up is Dan Hamilton from the Blakestown Mount View Youth Initiative.
Thanks very much, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here. And I feel really privileged hearing the number of applications that went in. And I'm also really looking forward to hearing the rest of the recipients. Some of them I know personally, and I know the great work they do, so I'm looking forward to hearing from them too. BMYI has been around for 20 years. We exist to provide family and youth support in the Dublin 15 area. The target group that we work with are at-risk families and young people, with a particular emphasis on individuals and families affected by drug and alcohol misuse. The primary supports that we offer are drug prevention and awareness, family support, development of positive social networks, positive mental health and healthy living, positive communication, the promotion and development of coping skills, resilience, and increased participation in education and further education. This project that has been supported by Fingal Chamber is a coaching and cultural awareness project. Our plan is to train young people in coaching skills so that they can listen to and guide their peers if they experience issues relating to social exclusion and isolation and racism. In parallel to this, we will run an intercultural awareness program so that young people can understand each other's cultures, better understand each other, and thereby remove barriers to relationship building. This grant will allow us to provide certification. And there are certification costs that go along with programs when you're going through QQI. And this grant is going to enable us to provide QQI level 4 cultural awareness component certificates and level 6 coaching certificates. So there's an added benefit here to participating in these programs. There's skills to be gained, there's understanding to be gained, and there's also an educational benefit as well. We're expanding our service to address the risks posed by conflict in the community and indeed race-related issues, for example, hate speech. We want to provide an added incentive for participation in these programs, which is the QQI accreditation. And this may benefit many clients educationally. In addition, we want to impart positive communication skills to key community members so that they can listen effectively and support people in the community through psychological empowerment. Furthermore, by exploring culture through a proven and tested framework, we can open discussions in a safe environment and thereby increase empathy, which should reduce conflict. We currently have 19 potential candidates for this, and depending on lockdown, we could see this doubling or trebling. Some added context to this is we're working with the Irish Human Rights and Equality Commission to facilitate the conversation on racism and racial discrimination in the Dublin area. So in summary, our outputs from this, the tangible data outputs are 40 level 4 intercultural awareness certificates and 40 level 6 coaching certificates. But really, we're also looking at reducing conflict in Dublin 15 and addressing issues related to isolation and social exclusion. We have good links with the National Youth Council and good links with many of the other organizations and charities and NGOs that work around us and with us. We're very proud to have strong links with Fingal Chamber, and we really appreciate the support, both in terms of monetary support, but also in terms of guidance that we've received over the years. To follow us and see what we're going to be doing with this project, people can go to our website, bmyi.ie, and from there you'll see our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube channels, which we are looking forward to updating people on our progress. So thanks very much for the support. It really is very, very much appreciated.
Great. Thank you, Dan, for that. Next of all, I'd like to call on the Crosscare Youth Service and Sandra Moore, please.
Thanks very much, Anthony. Thanks for inviting me along this evening. I'm quite new to the Fingal Chamber, so it's really interesting to listen to Andrea telling a little bit more about it there. So thanks a million for funding our project. We're really excited to get it going shortly now, hopefully in April. So just give you a little bit of a background. Crosscare Swords Youth Service is in the village, right behind the Bank of Ireland. Not many people know that we're there. We have been there for over 10 years now. We provide a wide range of programs and activities for young people. Some of the main programs are the Garda Youth Diversion Project, the Alternative Learning Program, the cross-care drug and alcohol program, mental health counselling, as well as our mainstream youth work programs, which involve support in many forms, one-to-one support, group work, life coaching, drop-ins, and a lot of outdoor adventures. We first ran the Train to Gain program, as we named it, in 2019, and it was really successful with our 16 plus male age group. So we decided in 2021 we would apply to Fingal Chamber Fund to fund this program. The Train to Gain program is for young people who are looking to upskill themselves to find employment. The young people that this program engages with are at-risk young people who are out of school with no prospect of returning, young people who are not in training centres, or young people who only see themselves as having the opportunity to find employment in the manual work sector and are looking for help with that. This program gives the young people the opportunity to upskill themselves in manual handling, safe pass, and to compile a CV for themselves and to be aided and guided on how to job search. They also partake in workshops focusing on their mindset in relation to employment and how to be positive and to know what employers are looking for. Practical workshops on interview skills and techniques are a key part to this program. The program focuses a lot on developing the young people so that they no longer have the fears that they may have in relation to looking for a job and then also in starting work. The grant from the Fingal Chamber Fund will be used to assist us in the delivery of CV skills workshops, interview skills, and job preparation, as well as what I mentioned earlier, the certification in manual handling and safe pass for these young people. This program, we first started it, as I said, in 2019, with the collaboration of Empower. Empower are happy to be involved with us again in 2021, and we look forward to working with them on it. The program is due to commence, as I said, in April. It may be pushed back slightly a little bit until May because of the current government restrictions, and then the young people will be finished up around June, July with their certifications. Briefly, I'd like to just say to you about the benefits that we see our program in having. Over the last couple of years, Swords Youth Service has seen an increased need in young people calling in and dropping into our service, looking for support in relation to gaining jobs and gaining employment. The benefits of this program are very specific to the at-risk young people in our local community, but this also then has a knock-on effect on their families and the local community itself, as these young people are then occupied and more interested in being employed locally rather than causing issues for local businesses, which have been reported in the past. The program should have a positive impact on decreasing antisocial behaviour and loitering in the local village. It gives young people the opportunity to develop key life skills and to work through issues and difficulties that they have come to us with, such as communication skills, confidence and agency building, planning and problem solving, managing relationships, which is very key in the workplace, obviously, and resilience and determination. This program this year will also hopefully give opportunity to young people who may have had extra impact in their lives and in their homes and in their families due to the COVID-19 pandemic. If you're interested in following our progress and finding out a little bit more both about the Train to Gain program and Swords Youth Service, you can follow us on our Instagram page, which is Swords Youth Service 1, or as I said earlier, we're located in the main village right behind the Bank of Ireland, and you can pop into us at any stage. Give the office a call. Thanks very much for your time this evening.
That's great. Thank you very much for that, Sandra. Next, I'd like to call on Donabate and Portrane Men's Shed representative.
Good evening, all. I'm the PRO for Donabate Portrane Men's Shed. As our name says, we are a men's shed based in the Donabate Portrane Peninsula in Fingal. We started in 2017, and we are affiliated to the Irish Men's Shed Association. At present, we have 25 members, but expect to expand our membership when it is safe for us to return to normal activities. Donabate Portrane Men's Shed provides a safe environment for men to socialise and connect with others while participating in group or individual projects. Although most of our members are in the 60+ age group and are retired, we welcome men of all ages and in whatever circumstances. In pre-COVID times, we met every Thursday at Donabate Sea Scouts Den for a cuppa and a chat. and to play table tennis and darts. Some members met for a weekly exercise class and others for a music jam session. We helped with maintenance of the Scout Den and with other community projects. We also had occasional outings to places of interest. For example, we played pitch and putt at Ring Commons. We visited the National Museum at Collins Barracks, Glasnevin Cemetery Museum, and other men's sheds. Unfortunately, COVID-19 has severely limited our activities. We now meet by Zoom once a week, and last summer, when restrictions were eased and weather permitted, we met on Portland Green for fish and chips from Piper's Takeaway. However, over the past year, the mainstay of our activity has been the work at our plot at Turvey Allotments, which we rent from Fingal County Council. This has been a perfect example of the Men's Shed motto: men don't talk face to face, they work shoulder to shoulder. We practice social distancing, sanitize shared equipment, and thankfully the allotments are within 5 kilometres of our members' homes. The grant from Fingal Chamber Community Fund, for which we are most grateful, will be used to purchase a 6 metre by 3 metre greenhouse. This will be installed at our plot at the beginning of next month. It will allow us to expand our operations at the allotments, propagating plants for later planting out and growing plants over the winter and plants that need warmer conditions. Apart from the obvious physical and mental health benefits for our members who are directly involved, we expect to be able to donate plants propagated in our greenhouse to Donabate Tidy Towns Committee and to other community groups. So it is hoped that the grant from Fingal Chamber Community Fund will benefit not just our membership, but also our entire community. Unfortunately, we don't engage in Facebook or Instagram. We rely heavily on face-to-face communication. So if you need to contact us, you'll have to contact us personally. Thank you to Fingal Chamber Community Fund for giving us this opportunity.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for that. Next, I'd like to call on the Fingal Volunteer Centre with Dagan Martins Borges.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah. So first of all, we in Fingal Volunteer Centre are very delighted to be here this evening, and thanks very much to all involved in providing such opportunity. Fingal Volunteer Centre is one of the 29 volunteer centres in Ireland. And what we do in Fingal is we provide a county-wide volunteer referral service to both volunteers and groups, either already involving or planning to involve volunteers in their work. So we connect community and voluntary groups with volunteers who are looking for voluntary work via our national database for volunteering opportunities. And we provide a range of other volunteer management supports and services, including our own event volunteers program, where we directly manage volunteers at various community events across the county, and we have been doing so over the last decade. So in short, we're the place to go for all your volunteering requirements. Last year, we have been particularly busy carrying out and carrying on with our regular service and being part of the community call and working with an incredible number of volunteers signing up to help out. So the funding provided will allow us to organise 2 cleanups in Fingal on the same weekend, ideally at the end of May in Baldoyle and Balbriggan, and involve all those who would like to give volunteering outdoors a go if they haven't already, and also involve those who have been doing it for some time. So again, it's an opportunity for everyone to get involved regardless of age. So we also aim to team up with local volunteers of Tidy Towns and other groups in the area for the 2 cleanups, so that we can target a good few parts either in small groups or individually, again, depending on where we're at with restrictions at that point. We will purchase at least 50 litter pickers and some other necessary tools that will not only be used on the day, but on many more afterwards. So we really want to see Fingal tidier and more people taking ownership of their own communities and local towns and villages through volunteering, and hopefully encourage others to do the same. And as we know, being out there volunteering certainly does good for one's health. So we really are looking forward to putting the allocated funding to a good use and bring all those volunteers who are eager to get out and take up a role that is a very quick start, regardless of times we're in. So you can find out more about the work that we do on www.volunteerfingal.ie, and you can follow our projects also on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Dega, for that synopsis. Next, I'd like to call on the Neighbourhood Youth Project, NYP, and Moira Highland, please. Hi, Moira.
Hello, thank you. I'm the community worker with the NYP in Blanchardstown, as it's commonly known. It was set up in 1993 by parents in the area. They were concerned about the amount of drug activity and antisocial behaviour and children becoming involved in those activities. There was also great concerns about the high levels of early school leaving, and parents felt that there was a need for supports to be set up in the area. They worked with the health board at the time and the Gardaí and local community and set up the project. For 28 years, we've worked with families across Dublin 15. No one gets sent away from the door. The Neighbourhood Youth Project is a specialised community-based youth project working with vulnerable 8 to 14-year-olds and their families. The project provides developmental programs, supports, nurturing and empowering to all who engage to reach their full potential. We work with children at risk, those experiencing mental health issues, family crisis, addiction, bereavement, homelessness. We also work to raise awareness and act on environmental issues, community enhancement projects, to raise awareness of racism in the area through open conversation with young people and families. Our new project, The Hub, will be a safe place for young people and their families to come and use technology that they don't have access to at home. We have become aware that a lot of families do not have basic computers to facilitate homeschooling or access to essential service. We can invite families into the NYP with supports to teach, to help, to advise on services they need and how to access them online. Funding will provide desks and glass protective dividers for the hub so as to ensure families and young people can use the hub safely and frequently. The project will commence as soon as lockdown is over, and we will expand according as more funding comes in. The NYP Technology Hub will address unprecedented technological deficits experienced by most of our vulnerable families and children in Dublin 15. Following from COVID, all our services were transferred online to new technological formats, providing a lifeline for the outside world for some of our most excluded families. But a third of those families, most vulnerable children living in deprivation, were identified with no access to technological devices, one mobile in a home and maybe no internet. So this left them excluded at an extreme emotional and social disadvantage when compared to their more affluent peers. The hub will focus on 3 key issues. Access to technological devices. Families have been identified from new communities living in homeless accommodation with large amounts of children, and they will be able to avail of our technology hub. Training and support for parents and children in the use of devices. We have 178 children and their families that will benefit from this. 43 of those children are in the 13-year age bracket. So the hub will be used to steer those young people towards programming and graphic design and away from popular unsuitable internet gaming and content. And education and guidance to a line of support for children and parents, i.e. HSE, online training, English courses, safe use of social media platforms, conferencing and Zoom supports. If anybody would like to find out more about our project, we are on Facebook and Instagram, and that's NYP Blanche. And we will hopefully be launching our new website very soon, and that will be nypblanche.ie. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Chamber for the chance to talk to people about our project. We're all very passionate about it. The families and children in the NYP will benefit from the support from the Chamber for years to come with this project. And the NYP would like to invite anybody who's interested to come and visit the NYP when the lockdown is finished, and you can get a better idea of the services that we provide. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thanks, Maura. Next, I'd like to call on Frank O'Sullivan of Onward Chasers.
First of all, I want to say a big thank you to the Fingal Chamber for supporting us in this endeavour, and congratulations also to all the other organisations who have been successful in their grant application. Hunger Chasers Basketball Club was established in 2012. We're based in Dublin 15, and when we started, the Dublin 15 was the fastest growing area of any city in Europe with the youngest age group profile. And as is the case with fast growing communities, facilities, sports clubs, volunteers groups lagged behind. We're also in Dublin 15, the most ethnically diverse area in Dublin. And at the start, when we looked at this, and I come from a Gaelic and basketball background, the penetration of traditional Irish sports seemed more limited. So in 2012, we started with 2 boys teams, under 15, under 17 in our first season, and the club has grown to 22 teams and a strong boys and girls junior academy for younger children. So we have really increased the diversity. The girls are catching up, thankfully, with the boys. I coach girls myself. It's gratifying too is that we have over 50 nationalities involved in our short history of 9 years. And a number of the young children who came at academy level, who started with us, have earned scholarships to play basketball in North America. So great opportunities open up there. We're now over 400 members, including 91 adult volunteers who are involved in everything from coaching as people who've never coached basketball before, and team managers and executive members and so on. The project that we've been approved for is to upgrade the outdoor sports facility. Now we rent all our facilities, by the way. So we have a great relationship with Hansfield Educate Together Secondary School, and they've been fantastic to us for the last 5 years. It's a new school. But most countries, and Ireland more particularly, basketball is an indoor sport. Consequently, the outdoor facilities are poorly appointed, bad surfaces and wonky basketball nets. You've probably all seen them. And with the pandemic, it was a case of play outdoors or not at all. So we did. From July to early December, when the level 5 restrictions forced us to having to stop play in December, we played outdoors. And I have to say, it was a silver lining in the pandemic cloud that we learned through the pandemic that basketball can be played outdoors. And we actually think it's a bit of a game changer for basketball in Ireland, potentially, because we don't have the same predictable weather that other countries have. So basketball is played quite a bit in other countries where you've got more dependable spring and summer seasons. But we last summer we played from July right until December. We used the courts, and they have 4 outdoor courts, not in great condition, as many courts aren't outdoors, but we had them filled. In fact, we, as a club, put together a little project to get lighting in so that we could continue playing late in the evening. And many nights we were there with 60 kids and 4 sets of 15 children pods playing away. And I'm involved with a girls team under 16, and from July to December we only missed 5% of our sessions. So the facility, the grant is to change the baskets on one of those courts, because a lot of times when kids are playing basketball outside, they feel like it's the poorer cousin, it's bad facilities, and real basketball is played indoors. And we've discovered that that's not the case. Most basketball courts that are outdoors are kind of casual recreational facilities, and then you play the real game inside. What we've discovered is that doesn't have to be the case. And we believe that what Fingal Chamber have done is allowed us to hopefully push that change in perception onwards. Gyms are expensive. We spend over 70% of our budget on hall rental because gyms are just expensive to build and to resource. So if we can move some of that outdoors, that's fantastic. So what it will do for our community is that we believe we'll have more resources to play basketball. We have a waiting list on our members. There's people asking to join. We just can't allow them in at the moment because we don't have enough coaches sometimes, but also we don't have enough facilities. We've also learned that playing outdoors is much healthier, and what this grant will do is we'll go a long way in our journey to democratize sport in our community of Dublin 15. Our website is ongochasers.com, and we're on Facebook and Instagram, and Ongo Chasers will get you there. So again, thank you to Fingal Chamber for the great support, and again, congratulations to all the other organizations. And for the other ones that haven't been successful, I wish you all the best in your next one. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Thank you very much. Next up, we have the Phoenix FM and Noreen Byrne.
Thank you very much for that. I was joined, first of all, by my colleague, Sandra Losty, who's our operations manager, but fortunately she had to leave to go to another meeting. So Phoenix FM is the community radio station for Dublin 15. We've been around a long time. We were legally constituted in 1990 as a community broadcasting cooperative society, and just last year we became a charity. As a social enterprise, we receive funding towards wage costs through the Community Services Programme, the CSP, that the Minister mentioned earlier, and PUBL, through the assistance of PUBL, and from the BAI, which is the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland, for programme making, along with once-off grants from time to time from Fingal County Council, and indeed we do our own fundraising. As we know, and has been mentioned earlier, the population of Dublin 15 has grown hugely. It is now one of the most diverse areas in the country, with more than 33% of the population from minority, national and ethnic groups, and also 32% of the population is under 20, according to the 2016 census. We feel we have an obligation to reflect these changes across all aspects of our work, and we have begun a strategic review of the station, including gender diversity. We are so grateful to receive funding from Fingal Chamber to run a training programme aimed at increasing the number of women volunteers, which currently runs at only 25% of the total. The station has provided access since it was formed to a broad range of community and local statutory organisations to highlight their work and give voice to issues of concern at ground level. Local and general elections have been covered over the years, providing opportunities for local politicians to debate national and local issues. Many individuals have told their own stories. And of course, we have lots and lots of music. The aim of the project, funded by Fingal Chamber, is to change the underrepresentation of women in the work of the station. Traditionally, women are underrepresented as participants in community radio across Ireland and indeed the world, according to a study done in 2018 by Anne O'Brien from NUIM. And the reasons for this are often based on assumptions about gender socializations. You'll be familiar with the terms, well, boys are more interested in technology and girls, they don't really have the confidence around the technology. In terms of Phoenix FM, despite a vision to do otherwise, some programs, I should be fair, continue to be designed on the premise that the listenership is uniform. However, audiences are diverse both in terms of gender and ethnicity, and programs should be responsive to the different expectations of listeners. Hence the need for a gender diversity program. The project is going to adopt a kind of an intersectional approach to recruitment on the basis of gender, age, ethnic background, and disability to identify 12 women to participate in a volunteer training program by using a group participative approach and one-to-one mentoring. Participants will make a demonstration program at the end of the training, which will be aired as part of our general broadcast output. So the plan is to recruit over June and July and to run the program over September and October. And the reason, the training program, the reason for that is we're, waiting and trying to manage the whole pandemic, because we really would like it to be live, so to speak, so that everyone is sitting with each other and getting support from each other in terms of the training. But we recruit in the summer because some of the women could be mothers and they might have children at home over the summer. The project will allow us to put our vision into practice, and it will make links with new groups in the community. It will change practice within the station. It will create change in the choice of content and people interviewed on our broadcast output, and it will become more reflective of the community we are licensed to serve. We expect at the end, to have 12 new women volunteer presenters, producers, and technicians, reflecting the diversity of our community in Dublin 15. We hope and plan for it to change attitudes and practices within the station and bring us in touch with a broader range of people in our community. We can be contacted on all our media platforms, our website, Phoenix FM, our Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and our YouTube channel. And if you want to contact us by email, it's info@phoenixfm.ie. I look forward to maybe interviewing some of the new, not personally, but getting the station to highlight some of the work that you're doing in the new training programs that's being funded by Fingal Chamber. We really look forward to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Noreen. Next, we have the Portmarnock Scout and Guide Den and Tomás Bell.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Tomás Bell, and I'm here representing the Portmarnock Scout and Guide Centre, which we call the Den, obviously. And first of all, thanks to Fingal Chamber of Commerce for their very generous grant that they've approved to help us. Let me tell you something about us. Scouting and the Girl Guides, Irish Girl Guides, are very strong in Portmarnock. We have approximately 250 youth members, boys and girls, ranging in ages from 5 to 18. And we would also have approximately 50 volunteer youth leaders who are involved in running the various programs, activities, hikes, camps, etc. Now, we're very fortunate in Portmarnock in that we have a modern purpose-built Scout and Guide Centre, or Den, which opened in 2015. It's in a beautiful woodland setting, and which is great to demonstrate outdoor activities and nature and what have you. And we get many visiting groups from around Ireland and indeed from abroad. They like to use the facilities nearby. We have shops, leisure centre, close to Malahide Castle, and of course the famous Portmarnock Beach would be less than 10 minutes away. So to a lot of inland groups, it's very attractive, and foreign groups. And the den is also used by other community groups, athletics clubs, Irish dancing, martial arts, ladies clubs. And this year during the pandemic, the transition year students from the local community school have been using our big halls because the restrictions regarding distancing and what have you. So that's something new that we were glad to be able to facilitate this year. Recently, we agreed to implement what we call a Green Den project. And the Green Den project is really twofold. First, it's to make our premises and grounds as environmentally friendly as possible. And secondly, in the process, to raise an awareness among all our youth members, which in turn we hope will filter through to their families and friends and the general community regarding the need to protect the environment, recycling, sustainability, biodiversity, national pollinator scheme, and all such areas of interest in education. So we were delighted when we got the grant because, like I'm sure the other voluntary groups, their money is so tight at the moment. We decided we couldn't charge parents because activities were so restricted because due to COVID. We couldn't charge parents for full subscriptions for the year, so money is just so tight. And the grant from Fingal is going to be great to kickstart our project. It will help us to buy a rainwater harvesting unit, composting unit, buy a load of topsoil, potting compost, garden tools, and little trowels and things like that for the kids to use. And buy plants, we're pollinator friendly plants that will attract bees, butterflies and other insects into the area. So, but by doing, part of the Scout and the Guide ethos is learning by doing. So we hope that by doing these things that our youth members will actually learn and will, you know, take it on board. And there is an openness and I think a willingness among young people nowadays, if it's presented in the right manner and if they get their hands onto it and get to do things, not just talking at them the whole time, but actually learning by doing, as I say. As I said, it's in age-appropriate activities because we have a wide range of ages from 5-year-olds who could be planting up little pots of flowers and herbs and things like that, and going on nature walks. Then with the older groups could be helping out with the tidy towns and the beach cleanup. There's a wood nearby, which unfortunately at times can be littered with cans and bottles and things like that. So we'd like to get the older groups involved in that. So everything is age appropriate. The bird boxes, I'm interested to hear about the men's shed because I know there is a men's shed in Portmarnock, and I'd like to talk to them about maybe helping us show the kids, the older kids, how to make bird boxes, bat boxes, bug hotels and things like that. So we'd be very interested in mixing with other local community groups on this sort of thing as well. Where is it going to lead us? Who knows? But we're going to kick off anyway. It's hard. We can do the physical infrastructures are quite measurable, but as regards raising awareness among the kids, it's harder to do. But I think that there is young kids. They are open to things if it's presented in the correct manner, and it's fun. It has to be fun, and they have to be able to get down and dirty and do it themselves. So that's it. Great thanks to Fingal Chamber again. Like I said, without this little injection of funds, it would have been a much harder slog, but this really should get us up and running. So that's all I have to say, folks. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Tomas. Now we have St. Benedict's housing scheme with a video clip.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah. I'm the scheme officer here in St. Benedict's in Malahide. I'm just sending in this short video as unfortunately nobody from our group is able to attend this evening's event. So I just want to give kind of a quick overview of what we do and what our project is. So I work for St. Vincent de Paul, and we have a conference here in Malahide who are all volunteers. I work very closely with them to manage and operate a housing scheme for older people. So you have to be over 55. It's kind of like a gated community for older people. We have 45 houses. We have 39 one beds and 6 2-bed houses. So I'm based on site full time to provide informal support, look after maintenance of all the houses, and basically just to try and, you know, enable people to live at home independently for as long as possible. So that's pretty much kind of what we do. And the project that we're receiving funding for is promoting mental well-being through gardening. So we submitted an application with the aim of you know, getting some gardening resources, some tools, some seeds, shrubs, all that kind of stuff, and just having kind of like a communal shed full of stuff for anyone to use it. And we're trying to encourage our residents to come outside, especially with the improvement in the weather over the last couple of weeks. So if we have those resources available, we're hoping that we can encourage people to come outside, get involved, especially after the last 12 months that we've had. So yeah, I just want to say thanks to Fingal Chamber on behalf of St. Benedict's Conference of St. Vincent de Paul. We're due to receive €1,000 from Fingal Chamber for this project. So I just want to say thanks, and sorry again that nobody is available to be there this evening. And congrats to the rest of the applicants as well. Thanks.
That's great. Thank you very much, St. Benedict's Housing Scheme. Next up, we have the St. John's Ambulance Swords Division and Jamie Bollard.
I'm Jamie from St. John Ambulance Swords Division. So what we do is we're part of St. John Ambulance Ireland, which was formed in 1903. So Swords Division we formed in 2014. And then for adult division, and now we've got cadets as well, so 11 to 17-year-olds as well. So what we do is we train every once a week. So every Wednesday our cadets do first aid skills every week and learn new skills, life skills as well. And on Thursday evenings our adults meet. So we have a range of people from first aider up to paramedic and nurse as well. And we currently we currently train in Holywell Community Centre there in Swords, and we rent off Fingal County Council a room in there, and our ambulance park's up in Swords Ambulance Station there, the National Ambulance Service Station. We currently have one ambulance. It's fully equipped up to the standard of the Pre-Hospital Emergency Care Council. We provide cover at many events locally and around Dublin surrounding areas, and like Croke Park, Aviva, or RDS. We do like runs around Swords, football, anything like that. So we provide an ambulance crew. We can provide just first aiders or emergency medical technicians. We have a cycle response unit that we got donated last year from One for All gift cards. So there's 2 bikes equipped with first aid equipment and defibrillator. We also have a first aid tent, which we use at certain events like the Donabate Portran Festival, the Rush Harbour Festival, Tamango's Teenage Discos as well. We use it for there quite a lot. We also have a defibrillator, public access defibrillator on Swords Main Street there as well, just at the Fingal County Council head office there. We put an AED in there that we maintain. So our project basically is we get no government funding, so everything we do comes in through event cover, first aid courses, and donations and fundraisers. So with COVID last year, obviously the fundraisers and the events were put down a bit, so our income has been a bit interrupted by that. So it costs about 40 grand a year to run St. John Ambulance Swords, between insurance, equipment, training supplies, the whole lot. So this grant will go greatly towards that. help us to update our equipment, both our training equipment and our first aid and ambulance equipment. We also do loads of first aid courses, from basic first aid responder, emergency first responder, manual handling, fire safety, and we do that for anyone. And all we do ask for in return is a small donation. We also do talks, first aid talks, ambulance demonstrations. We've been out to the Scouts and Swords a few times, and Rush. We have done creches, we've done schools as well, and transition years. We in Rush secondary school there, St. Joseph's. We go out there nearly once a year for the transition year or leaving cert applied students. And we also teach first aid to the teachers in that school as well, and hoping to expand to other schools as well. So yeah, so thanks a million for the opportunity. Great to hear from all the other organisations and businesses and companies. And sure, if we can ever do anything to help anyone, we're more than happy to do first aid courses, provide medical cover at events, and we can do first aid talks, ambulance tours, etc. So thanks a million again.
Thank you very much, Jamie. It was great. And finally, and by no means least, we have Sword Celtic and Sandra Harvey.
Good evening, everyone. I'd just like to begin by giving my thanks to the Fingal Chamber for inviting me here tonight. I'm representing Sword Celtic Football Club, and I'm a committee member and a manager coach with the club the last 4 years. We're delighted that our recent grant application to the Fingal Chamber Community Fund was accepted. So a little bit of background to our club. Sword Celtic is an established football club in the heart of Fingal, North County Dublin, and we were formed in 1962. The club has football teams ranging from 7 years up to senior level. We play home matches at Balheary Reservoir, north of Swords, and our club facilities include full-size pitches, 7-a-side, 5-a-side pitches, 2 Astro pitches, and a clubhouse. So our project plan, in the last 2 years, Sword Celtic started up a girls section. We currently have an under 14s, under 11s and under 9s team. However, we wish to increase participation and grow this section even more. So the plan is to set up a girls only academy for 4 to 7-year-old girls, as well as an under 8s team, as the interest in these age groups has been absolutely huge in recent months. To do so successfully, though, we need to invest in particular equipment, specifically goals for small-sided games, footballs, cones, bibs, which all cost money, and this will equip us to coach the girls. The equipment will enable the girls section to grow to meet the potential demand in girls football in the Fingal area. This grant and funding will facilitate the formation of the Girls Only Academy and teams at other age groups to grow the future of girls football in equal measure to the boys. The project, we hope, will commence once sport reopens under the government advice of living with COVID. It will take a couple of weeks to order and receive required equipment. We'd hope to launch a marketing campaign to communicate our plans. And so, but we're hoping by the summer of 2021, we'd hope that all will be in place and for the young girls to begin playing football. So to sum up, participation in sport is especially important in the current environment, both from a physical and mental well-being perspective. It is also important that girls and women have an equal opportunity to achieve their full potential while enjoying sport. This is why we at Sword Celtic are absolutely delighted to have been approved for this grant to afford girls in Swords and the wider Fingal area an opportunity to play football. Thanks again to the Fingal Chamber on the award of the Community Fund grant for 2021 to Sword Celtic. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you very much, Sandra. Okay, we've heard from all of the recipients here now. I just want to acknowledge a couple of people. I want to acknowledge the supporters of the Fingal Chamber Community Fund for their kind donations. I want to thank the board of the Chamber for a very kind and large donation to the fund and have committed to doing this going forward. I want to say a special thank you to Minister Joe O'Brien, TD, for accepting our invitation to speak at this event. And I spoke with the Minister earlier on today, and he's given a great amount of his time to us, and we're all behind you in your endeavours as Minister. So, and thank you very much. I want to thank Andrea, our Fingal Chamber President, and also the Chair of the Community Committee, Andrea Malloy. And I want to thank the rest of the Fingal Chamber Community Committee members, of which there, I think Andrea mentioned them earlier. I would like to thank all of the groups who are receiving our grants: Blakestown Mountain View Initiative, Crosscare Youth Service, Donabate Portrane Men's Shed, Fingal Volunteer Centre, NYP Neighbourhood Youth Project, Ongar Chasers Basketball Club, Phoenix FM, Portmarnock Scout and Guide Den, St Benedict's Housing Scheme, St John's Ambulance Swords Division, and Sword Celtic FC. I would like to thank all of the speakers for articulating your case for each of your organisations so brilliantly this evening. It was really well done and gave me a very good insight into you and the passion that goes into these organisations. I would like to thank all of the recipients and the representatives. I want to thank all of those organisations who applied, but unfortunately this trip round were not successful. Andrea mentioned it earlier on that we had 127 applicants for this fund, which was really staggering. And on a personal note, I would like to pay a very special thank you to all of the volunteer groups all over the country, not only Fingal, for all of the magnificent and important work that you do in the community. If the last year has taught us anything, it's that community and family are really what matters. And the most important thing in all of this then is that we all work together for the common good. So thank you very much to all of you. It's a really, really worthwhile and beneficial task you've taken on for your organizations and to help everybody in the community. I suppose that's all I have, and I'm going to close the event and say thank you all for joining us this evening. Stay safe and slán go fóill.